Unraveling, speaking of which, a guide to understanding this common English phrase. Hello, language enthusiasts. Today, we're diving into a fascinating aspect of English conversation, the phrase, speaking of which. This expression is a real game changer in smooth and engaging communication. So, if you're ready to add another tool to your English proficiency toolkit, stay tuned. Speaking of which is a transitional phrase used in conversation. It helps to connect one topic to another, especially when the second topic is related to the first in some way. Think of it as a bridge that links two parts of a conversation, making it flow more naturally. This phrase shines in situations where you want to introduce a related topic without seeming abrupt. It's perfect for those moments when something someone says reminds you of something else. For example, if your friend mentions they are going to a wedding and you remember you have a funny story about a wedding, you might say, "Speaking of which, I have to tell you about what happened at my cousin's wedding." Let's see, speaking of which, in action. 1. Context of work. We need to improve our sales. Speaking of which, did you see the latest marketing report? 2. Social setting. I love Italian food. Speaking of which, have you tried the new restaurant downtown? 3. Personal experience. I'm really enjoying my yoga classes. Speaking of which, I met an old friend at the studio yesterday. It's important not to use "speaking of which" when the topics are not related. Doing so can confuse your listener. Also, avoid overusing it in a conversation, as it can become repetitive and lose its effectiveness. Speaking of which is a simple yet powerful phrase that can significantly enhance your conversational skills in English. It's all about making smooth transitions and keeping the conversation flowing. We hope this video has been enlightening and that you'll feel more confident using "speaking of which" in your next conversation. Happy learning, and see you next time.